Lisa with Mona Earth Crafts with another crochet episode. We are going to do granny squares, and we're also going to do changing colors and not doing knots. It's really simple to do. There's, probably other ways you can do it, but I'll show you the way I do it. And I have cat hair everywhere. As you saw in my last episode, I have a cat. But anyway, granny squares can be used for many different things. This one, I'm working on a blanket for my grandson and have different types of granny squares. This is one type, but I also have other granny squares that I've done. I use these actually for hot pads, for pots or hot bowls, or whatever you want. But you can also not stop here. You can make big huge blankets if you would like. I've done that a few times. You can make pillows out of them, shawls, whatever you want, and they're very universal in how you want to do them. Let's get started. So I'm going to use, like I did last time, my 5mm crochet hook. That's awesome for beginners because it is a little bit bigger and not so tedious to use. And I'm going to use two different colors. They're a little bit different of a gauge yarn, but that's okay. It's not horribly bad to use different gauges, but this isn't, it's not too different from, I don't know where it is, it's not too different from this gauge. It's only slightly, very slightly different. So get a drink of coffee. I cannot function without coffee. Everybody has eggs and toast or cereal. I have coffee. So here we go. If you watched my last episode, I showed you how to do a slip knot. I always say that wrong. But anyway, we'll show you again if you didn't see my last episode. Gosh, my daughter gave me this yarn, and I swear she's a pack rat. So, your slip knot is very simple to do. Everybody does it different, but this is how I do it. You just twirl it around your fingers and keep going a little bit up underneath your hoop or your loop, and you put your hook in there. Alright, leave her alone. Hold your loose yarn and pull it to tighten it. And you want to get that little knot a little bit snug. Whoop. There we go. So here we go. This and the end are the only knots you're gonna have. I don't really like to do knots in my work. It creates little nodules throughout your yarn, throughout your project, and I just don't care for them too much. So when we change our colors here, I'll show you how to do it without doing knots. Okay, so here we go. To start your granny square, you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to do a double crochet. So you're going to grab your yarn and go to that first chain. You're going to go in through there. You can go through the top, through the bottom, however you want to do it. I mean, there's really no right or wrong way. That's why I love about crochet. You can pick your way to do it. And you go in through there and pull it out. And then you got your 3 hoops. You grab your yarn again and you pull it just through those first 2 loops. And I always hold my yarn because I tend to crochet more tightly. So 1, 2, okay, and you still have these 2, so you're going to grab your yarn again and go through the last 2. Okay, now we're going to do it again. Grab your yarn, go through that same hole, loop, whatever you want to call it. Grab that yarn, come back through, and you're going to have 3. Grab that yarn, only go through the first 2. 1, 2. Grab that yarn, 1, 2. Whoop. And you've got 3. Now, where some people, and I did too when I first started, but some people get confused when they first started. That 3 chain that you did counts as your first stitch. Okay, you don't have to do 1 more because it'll end up looking funky. So that counts as your first stitch. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, and you're going to snug it, or I do. You're going to chain 2. Okay, and then you're going to grab that yarn again, go through that same one. You're not going to defer from that one. You're going to go through that same one, and it'll stretch. It's okay, it'll stretch. Bring it back through. You're just going to, okay, if that yarn goes through like that, that's fine. Just push it back over. You're going to have your 3, grab your yarn, go through those first 2, grab your yarn, go through that last 2, and you're going to have that hole. Grab your yarn, go through that same one, pull through, grab it, pull through, grab your yarn, go through those first 2, grab your yarn, go through the last 2. And as you see, that hole starts to stretch a little bit. That slip knot will give. And I'll show you when we're done with, with that second row, we'll snug it down. So we're going to do our third one. Grab your yarn, put that through there, grab your yarn, pull it back through, grab your yarn, first 2, grab your yarn, last 2, and just kind of keep your work pulled over. Snug it down, chain 2, 1, 2. So you got 1, 2, and you can see the start of a corner there. Hey Shirley. Grab your yarn. We're going to work on our third one. We got 2 more to go. Put it through that same hole. Grab your yarn, pull it back through. Grab your yarn, go through those first 2. What'd you say?
Found the pink.
Yeah, he's got gunky eyes. We'll just have to keep his face clean. Grab your yarn, pull it through those last 2. Snug it down a bit. Grab your yarn. Go through, grab your yarn. Pull it through 2. Pull it through 2. Grab your yarn. Go in there, grab your yarn. You got 3. Grab your yarn, pull it through 2. Okay. Grab your yarn, pull it through the last 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We got 3. Chain 2. Now you can see the starts of your square, or the bottom part of your square. Chain 2. Now we're going to do our last one. And as you see, we're hiding parts of this tail here. We're just kind of weaving it in here. Alright, now our last one, our last set. Go through there, grab it. Go through 2. Go through 2. And the same one, go through 2. Go through 2. Go through 2. Grab your yarn. Grab your yarn. And the benefits of holding your yarn is so you can, where I kind of crochet tightly is I kind of pull on that. And if you tend to crochet tightly and you pull, your yarn starts to kind of stretch that way, and you kind of can't see your stitches so well. So it makes it easier when you hold your work to keep it where it's supposed to be. Alright, now you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. So we're going to snug that down a little bit. 1, 2, and then we are back at our start. So that chain corner here, we're going to do a slip stitch. A slip stitch is literally just that. If I can get it through there. Get it through there. I'm going to put it through there. Grab your yarn and pull it back, and you've got your 2. But the yarn that you pull through is the yarn that you're going to pull through the other. There's your slip stitch. And I think I put it through the wrong one. No, I didn't. It just looks funky. Okay. That's alright. That's why. Alright. Now it won't look funky. Alright, again, pull it through and just continue going through that other loop. Alright. So now, you've got your start. You've got, when you do your 2 chains in between, it automatically starts to kind of square off there. So we're going to change colors. how we're going to do that is we're going to, we did a slip knot or a slip stitch. We're going to chain one, and it rolled away. Slip it in it, or cut it, however you want to say it. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. And then you tighten it down. Back here, what we're going to do is we're going to close our middle hole there. Okay? Then what we're going to do is, I forgot to bring one up. I need a little tiny hook. The little tiny one. Alright. What's up? Alright, so now what you do, after you tighten that, snug that down, you come in through here, and we're going to weave this in through here. And I do it back this way instead of following around here, because if you follow around here, it takes a chance of, you know, working its way back out when you go to wash it. So I just work it through. If I can get my brain to work right. Okay. Grab that yarn and snug it through there. Okay, and we're just going to go around here. I'm not hungry, but thank you. I mean, if you're going to make eggs, fine, but I'm not quite.
I'm going to make something.
Okay. I'm not going to eat right now, though. I'm a little bit busy. Huh? Yeah. Whoop. Ah. That's the downside about a tiny, tiny, tiny hook with a larger gauge. There we go. Alright. And that yarn just disappears. My daughter had this yarn and it was stuck in her closet. She was using it, but she loses interest pretty quick. And the more you work yarn, the more it tends to come apart. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. Alright, so we got it weaved through there. It will not be coming out. And you just trim it in. Now, this one we're going to weave through after we change colors here. I hear you. What? Okay, good for you. Alright. This one is just, hopefully is not cut. Okay, it's not. But it is tangled up. That's the downside about getting yarn from somebody else that you don't really. Okay, so we'll deal with this later, but for now I'm going to get the frayed end off so it doesn't cause issues here shortly. Okay, so how I start without tying a knot, okay, is I go through. You're going to use these holes anyway, and then I grab my yarn that I'm going to be transferring to, okay, and I'll pull that yarn through. Now my hands aren't working right today, but we're going to pull that tail up here and hold it down, and then we're just going to make a chain and snug that down and make sure it's good and snug, because we don't want it coming slipping off and having to start over. And then we're going to chain another one, okay, and then as you can see the difference in the gauges, but it's not really going to matter too much once you actually get it started. So then we're going to do our regular stitches like we did here. And the reason I'm not doing 3 is because if you do 3, I'll show you, if you do 3 and then start, it's going to tower over it. So I just do 2 when I start like this. Now if I'm doing something else, you know, already started, that's something different, but when I do it like this, this is the way I do it. So we're going to start our double crochets. Again, you're going to grab your yarn and we're going to go in the hole here, not in the chain here. So we're going to grab our yarn, go down through the hole that we first started through, and as we're doing that, we're hiding and anchoring also at the same time. So we have no need for a knot. Awesome, huh? So grab our yarn, come through, and we got our 3. Grab your yarn, 1, 2, snug that down. And as we snug our yarn down, we're anchoring this. And that is important because you don't want it coming loose. And then eventually we're hiding this as well. Okay? So we grab our yarn, go through your last 2, snug that down, and then you want to make sure you pull your work over, because you want to make, you know, room. So again, we're going to make 2 more because that one counts as our first one. Okay, so we grab our yarn, go through the hole, grab our yarn, come back up, grab our yarn, go through those first 2, snug that down, grab our yarn, go through our last 2. And there is our first set. We're going to do 2 sets in each corner. Okay? So we're going to do our 2 chains. Okay? Sure, battery's good. Then we're going to grab our yarn again and do another set. Snug that down, and we're still burying that other yarn. We're anchoring it down. This way, when you fold that in there, you anchor it and you have no need for a knot. And it just looks much, in my opinion, it looks much cleaner. Okay, so now you have your 2 sets in the corner here. Okay? And when you're done with your set, we're going to go through the other corner. We're going to chain 1. Okay? We're going to create a section here. But since we are done, and we've kind of buried those, we're going to clip them off. And we'll tuck that in here after a bit. You did it? Awesome. Just sit it there. Thank you. Alright. Good job. After you chain the 1, you go into your other corner for your second row, and I'll show you here in a minute, and you make your first set. Chain 2. Move your work over. We have created a hole for your third row. And then you make your second set in this corner. I think I have a kitten that wants to come up here. Hopefully they don't use my leg as a tree. That doesn't usually feel too good. Alright, we're done with our second set. We're going to snug that down a little bit and chain 1. He's after. Come here. And then we're going to go on our third set. Chain 2. And what happens if you don't move your work over, it kind of goes wrong, and you end up, and I've done this numerous times, your work tends to kind of have a wave effect. I wouldn't suggest you jump from that height. It might hurt. Here. And we're going to do our second set in this corner. Wrinkle. Dangle, dangle. There we go. I guess that kitten was camera shy. He wanted down, and now he's on my feet. A lot of times I forget how many I've done, so I kind of have to constantly look, and I forget to count. So I have to constantly look at my work. Alright, on our last set before we end this row. But I'm going to do something a little bit different with this one and show you how you can, keep the same color. Okay. Chain 1. And we're going to do our slip stitch. We're going to come over here to the corner here. Cat left his fur up here. Oops. Alright. Alrighty. So as you see, we not only have our corner holes, we also have holes in between those. Okay, so our third row is going to include those holes. Now, to start our third row, using the same yarn, the same color, we're going to go back through the hole we just finished. Okay, grab our yarn, come back up through. And if I could separate these two a little bit, we have 2 strands of yarn, and it's kind of awkward, but it does work. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through both. Snug that down, and that counts as our first chain stitch, and there's our second. Okay? And there's our first stitch. So now we can go with our second. And it might look awkward at first, but if you're holding your yarn, it kind of pushes the strands of yarn where you need them to go. And that's how it kind of sits in space. It sits in place like that. And then our third one. And chain 1. Now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make a set, making 2 sets in each one. In each corner, should I say. So here we go. We're in the corner, so this is our 2 sets. Angel, what are you doing? Make sure you push your work over so you have straight work and you have room. Chain 2. And your second set. That's why I don't like cakes. I think I'm going to unwind this after this one. I roll my yarn into balls. I don't like cakes. And there's a reason behind that. Because when you get it from somebody else, you end up with it going around here sometimes instead of coming out the center. Even when it comes out the center, a lot of times it'll get tangled up in the middle. With a ball, when you unwind your skein of yarn or your cake, there's no tangle. Hi. There's no tangling up. It just unrolls. I have not yet had my... Hello. Sorry, guys. I have not yet had a ball of yarn get tangled up. Okay, so back to what the video was originally about. So, okay, I see you. I know you want attention, but I'm kind of busy. Come here. Come here. Stop. Stop. You're going to get put down. Stop it. Stop it. Alright. And chain one. And you're going to do that all the way around. Your one set on the borders, two sets with a chain in the middle, or two chains in the middle in your corners. And it's pretty repetitious, and even if you're a newbie and a beginner, by that second row or third row, you usually get it. And I'm gonna have to move this because she's not being cooperative. Okay, now we're at a corner. And oh, I wanted to show you. By the way, if you forget your chain, you'll automatically know it because you really won't have much of a... Stop it. You won't have much of a space. If you make a mistake, if you're close enough, you can just undo it and go back. If you're not, you can correct it. Just kind of make the space. You are not helping. Can I at least finish this row, please? Alrighty. And we're not going to make this video, stop, a particularly long video, but I wanted to show you how simple granny squares really are. And make sure you move here. And try to give people out there some tips that, you know, may help them. Crocheting doesn't have to be intimidating or anything like that. It's a very peaceful craft. Once you get into that rhythm of doing so, your mind tends to focus on what your hand's doing, focus on what you're creating rather than what went on during the day. in essence. And it kind of can be, and I know it is for me. There we go. And it kind of can be almost like a meditation. I know it is for me. And you know, in my particular situation, I'm disabled. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. This is something that I can do to keep my sanity. And other than, thank you for calming down. Other than just the monotony of, you know, cleaning house and, you know, taking the dogs out, or, you know, feeding the cats and the dogs, or making beds, and, you know, stuff that is everyday thing. This is kind of, can be your out. And that's what I want to eventually help people to understand. Crochet is not just, you know, the project. It's an art. It's a peace of mind, I guess you could say. And my battery is running low, so change my battery. And when we come back, I'm going to show you one more time how to change colors. And then we'll end with that color. And I will see you then. Okay. On our last row, and I put it into a ball. It's a lot easier for me to deal with. Excuse me. 2 chains on the corner. Make sure you move your work over. And our last there we go. So chain 1, and we're going to come over here at the corner. Whoop. So a little bit snug to get in there, but we'll get it in there. And we're going to do our slip stitch. Again, pulling our yarn through, we're just going to continue going through. Snug that down. And there is our work. And kind of where I was holding it, there we go. Snug that down. Just make sure it don't come off. And I guess technically that's not really a knot, but we just snug that stitch down. then we are going to weave over that anyway, so it won't come off. So to change colors, I showed you there, but we're going to show you again. We're going to put our hook through the hole, and bring that yarn through that hole. And our tail, we're going to bring forward, oops, and make a chain. Okay, and then snug that down at both ends so it doesn't come loose, and chain another one. We gotta move it over a little bit. Okay, and now we can move on with the rest of our stitches. Our double crochet, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2, and go through 2. And there's our 3. And you can see how that first one, the chains act as our stitch, our first one. So we're going to chain 1, and we are going to trim this down, but we're not going to trim it down totally because we're going to weave it in through the rest of the row. But as you see, that one is longer, so we're going to make sure they're even because I'm OCD. So now we're going to go through our second hole, keeping our tails flat. And just as we did here, we're just snugging it down over top of that, and it will not come out. It might work out eventually when you wash it, but depending on how you wash it, it doesn't come out. I made my daughter-in-law a big, huge, king size, basically granny square, and she's washed that thing numerous times, and I have made it the exact same way I'm doing this, and change colors, oh my gosh, so many times. And now some of these little tails have kind of snuck through, but none of them has actually no stitches have come loose, I'll put it that way. And as you see, the last bit of the tail of those will be covered, and you'll be able to see it if you're really looking for it, but if you're not looking for it, you're not going to see them. And push your work over, make sure it's straight, and chain 2. If you do not, and I have done this, if you don't get your chain 2 or you forget to at the corner, you'll automatically see it. If you chain 1, as you see, when you chain 2, it makes that natural corner look. If you chain 1, it does not do that. And I made a mistake there, and I'm not sure what I did, but you know, it'll work out. But if you don't make a chain the second chain, you'll see it. But if you're like me and stay focused on what your work is and kind of meditate, I guess you could say, through your work, you don't really notice the mistakes until afterwards. And my daughter-in-law, she kind of says it to make me feel better, but she loves it. But it makes the piece very unique, and you just kind of focus yourself on, paying attention, which is not always my strong suit. Alright, so we're going to go around a couple times, and that will be our granny square for this video anyway. And as you see, the more you do, obviously the bigger it gets, but the more holes you're going to have in between. Of course, obviously you're always going to have the four corners, period, but you're going to have the more holes in between, the bigger it gets. And when you're making blankets, you can do individual little granny squares and sew them together, or like I do a lot of times, is you could just make one big granny square. And I really like doing that. I think it's really neat looking. And at the end of this row, I'll show you again how to keep the same color, and I'll meet you there. Okay, we are at the end, or the last corner, should I say. I have to say, just, I have this purple, it's not really a table, it's a crochet pillow, and it's kind of like a lap desk, but it's a pillow. I put this piece of cardboard up underneath, and I absolutely love it. I bought it off of Amazon. I'll put it in a link in a, I can't spit it out. I'll put it in a link in the description for those crocheters out there who are like me and have problems looking down all the time with neck issues or whatever, or want some support for your elbows, or whatever you have it. But this little pillow has been a huge lifesaver. Okay, so our last one, we're going to make that corner. Whoop. If it goes in there, come here. There we go. The stitch was hiding from me. and have that go through there. So snug that down, and we're going to continue this row. We're going to go in, damn it, there we go, in that same hole we just came out of, grab our yarn and come right back up through. And you're going to have 2 loops, go through those 2 loops, and there's your first single crochet. And then you're going to, that, and then you're going to have your first stitch. And then once I get off my yarn, you're going to continue with your set. And again, if you push on that, hold your yarn or hold your work, it helps keep those yarn pieces where you can see your work better, because that particular area tends to be a little confusing. And there you have it. So I will meet you at the end, and then we'll show you how to finish it off. Whoop, cat fur. I'll meet you. Oh, my cat jumped up here again and okay. Last set. Oops, almost made a mistake. I get in the rhythm a lot and don't pay attention sometimes. Alright. So we're going to make that last slip stitch. The corner's hiding again. Alright. Good. And there we have it. Oh, there it is. Snug that down, and just like we did the back, we're gonna bring this the opposite direction and weave that through there. And that gives a bit more security than just a little slip, a little single tighten down crochet. There. And do it all the way, pretty much all the way over. Just to make sure it doesn't come out. Oops. left it behind. There we go. Okay. Thought I made a mistake. Apparently I did not. Since that split, I gotta make sure it doesn't split again. And there you have it. I kind of end up dipping it there where I pulled it, but it'll be okay. You can use it as a whatever you want, but I gotta fix that. There we go. Alright. And our edges are tucked in. Something's up with my... Apparently my Wi-Fi is not working right now. But you can use it for whatever. This is small enough to use as a coaster or whatever you want. There you go. And use it for whatever you want. I hope this was helpful for people and helpful tips. And I hope you all enjoy your own crochet adventures. See you next time.